is many studies have indicated that COVID-19 has disproportionately affected minority groups. How is the government addressing the issue and protecting these communities?
You're right. When it comes to our government, we have like a zero tolerance for minority groups or ethnic groups, especially when it comes to like Scarborough or Etobicoke or Brampton. And COVID actually, it was more COVID tested positive in these areas than any other areas in our local GTA areas. So we have a new funding model just to focus on focus on like either indigenous communities or minority communities. There is a new grant program that we introduced of $1.6 million. It will go through even like communities like in Scarborough and Etobicoke where people are affected most, but not just based on COVID. But it is based on what's been happening prior to COVID as well, because there are some communities they've been affected throughout. COVID, it's just made their situation much worse. So recently we announced this new grant program. It's also going to anti-black racism and also going to anti-indigenous, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia projects as well, because those are also a huge focus for our government. As I said, we have a zero tolerance for any discrimination or any hate or racism, including real life barriers for people to achieve the God-given potential, because that it's directly connected to visible minorities. I'm going to tell you something, stats. I don't know whether you guys know this or not. Do you know only 4% of educational directors are visible minorities? Do you think that is okay? In the entire province, only 4%. That doesn't reflect the province demographic. So we are, Minister Lecce, the education minister, is making a generational change by de-streaming the applied and academic channel of courses that people take, and also focusing on how there is a diversity in hiring process, whether it's COVID or not. What can we do to have a diversity in educational directors or executive directors in these school boards? Because 4%, it doesn't sit well with me, because that doesn't reflect the entire population. So recently, I'm sure you all are aware of this, that there was a huge case in Peel Region District School Board where a lot of parents complained and reported about anti-black racism going on, and the board did not take action. So Minister Lecce funded an investigation, an independent investigation to see what's going on, and the report came back as there are a lot of like very appalling evidence that shows there was alarming anti-black racism been going on, and obviously he took action right away. He fired the education director, and then now focusing on having new education director in the Peel region. And like minister spoke to me personally, and he's speaking to all the MPPs to get our feedback on what's happening in our area. So I gave my feedback on what's going on in Scarborough as a whole, in Scarborough-Rouge Park, and before September comes, fingers crossed, before September comes, minister is going to come out and talk about how we're going to bring diversity in every layers of education. And as I mentioned, our government already giving the new grant for community minority groups. 2 weeks ago, I personally came to Malvern Community Center where Malvern is, where Taibu is. We announced a new funding model for organization called Girl Power. So this is an organization for black girls from age 12 to 16. They do leadership program through hip hop and dance and music, and they teach leadership skills through these avenues. So our government came forward to fund them almost $500,000 for 48 months to make sure this program become a professional institution program, to make sure the kids in the east end of Toronto also get the funding. So come September comes, I'm going to do a similar announcement for another Scarborough-based minority group. They're going to get $250,000 funding for their. These are all not for profit, already functioning in our neighborhood, but they never got funding from any levels of government. But our government is finding out who are the organizations doing a great job and bringing the youth or bringing the community. So we are funding those. So by doing that, we are actually enabling them and empowering them to be being a leader in their own unique ways in their own community.